Item number 56, resolution 25. I know you've all read this, but I would like to at least read the last two paragraphs. This is dealing with three additional school resource officers. The last two paragraphs is, whereas the Smith County Commission meeting in its regular session June 25th, 2018 determined that the funding of three additional school resource officers from the Smith County General Fund for the protection and nurturing of the children, parents, faculty, staff, and welcome visitors attending our Smith County schools is deemed expedient and necessary. Now therefore be it resolved in the Smith County Commission meeting regular session on June 25th, 2018 that Smith County government shall fund three additional school resource officers for the Smith County schools from the Smith County General Fund effective upon its adoption. First thing I want you to know that this is not included in the budget that you passed. This is out there in addition. The Budget and Finance wanted to submit this to the full County Commission for your vote. What you have is options. You can either vote for it, to approve it, you can vote to deny it, or you can vote to change it. The Budget and Finance Committee, if I'm not mistaken, there was no recommendation, positive or negative, just bring it before the full court to vote on this issue. And I think it would be a good idea to discuss this among each other. I know a lot of you still have questions. I've tried to answer what I could. So, open for discussion. Mr. Gross.
Reference to our three SROs, here's where we stand on that. Of course, I got the TCA code, Tennessee Code Annotated, says it has to come out of general fund. Listening to the Speaker of the House, Vince Harwell, the other night, the state has set aside $30 million for these SROs for school safety. When we get it, I don't know. But right now, I'm looking at hiring out of our general debt service 3 more SROs. Tuition to the Tennessee State Academy is $3,300. So you times that times 3. We're talking 3 more patrol cars times 3. 10 weeks salary times 3, or whatever. My suggestion to this body is, and of course, I'm all for school safety, the kids, the teachers. I've had kids in school, I've got brothers and teachers, so I'm all for the safety. My recommendation, I'd like to see go to this body is table this until we hear from the state in order to get our part of that $30 million. Wade Bus and Sheriff Harper, if they were hired today, it could be a year before that they could get into the academy. You can't put them in the school unless they've been through the academy. Also, hearsay is from the Board of Education. They want SROs with at least 2 years experience. Take 3 deputies from this man right here with 2 years experience, that's going to cut him way down on his experience officer. So, vote, everybody's got a right to vote how they want to, but I would like to see it tabled until we hear something from the state on the $30 million. Because we have to go into our general fund and start hiring these people, paying the tuition, buying cars and stuff. It's going to eat up our general fleet, or our general fund. So, that's mine.
Okay, and there'll be others that will comment, I'm sure, but Mr. Bellmer, I'd like for you to get a copy of that Tennessee code he referred to, because he told me that before the meeting too. But that's the first I've ever heard of that, but I would like for you to research that for us, if you would, please. And David, I'm not disagreeing with you, I just want him to research.
Right here under TCA, Tennessee Code Annotated, 49-6, 4201. People's got computers to go on LexisNexis and Google stuff. SROs by state statute are funded through a county general fund rather than public school funds. Right here, black and white.
Well, and I would say that, no disrespect, David, but the Tennessee code, that is a printed off Word document, and we would like to get the whole wording of that Tennessee code.
I spoke to Mr. Beller about it earlier because I just wanted this to be known.
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
where we're at. I don't want to dig ourselves in a hole that we can't get out of.
Thank you, David. Other comments? Mr. Young?
Yeah, and of course, everyone here knows my profession, so I'm pretty passionate about what we're talking about. I think this is long overdue. I think that SRO is not the answer to all of these problems, but it is a solution that we can provide. It's not necessarily, we gotta have education and counseling and many things, but this is one answer, that we can provide for now. And I understand that, the sheriff cannot, just because we fund this, automatically have SROs in these schools. It's a process and it takes time. But the same hole that Mr. Groves was talking about digging ourselves in, I don't want to bury one of our children in that hole. So there's nothing, in my opinion, that is more important than what we're doing right here. We've got to give every means possible to stop anything like this if it happens.
If you would, before somebody throws out a motion, let's let everybody discuss it first, and that way we can all be on the same page. Frank, you had your hand up next.
Yeah, the school board's got about 10 million in their fund, and that's a shame that they want to require SROs, and which I'm for it, but they should have to pay out of their fund, or should, I don't know who come up with that resolution or go down and take it. But if they got that much money, expecting more money, the general debt, your funds is gonna be real low next pay. School ought to pay something, they should pay it. That's not me.
And, I mean, his comment is correct. I mean, I give y'all the fund balances tonight as of 6/19. Other comments, questions?
The original 5 that's coming out of the school budget now, is it not coming from their funds that they're helping pay for?
Yes.
That is correct. Yes, sir. They reimburse us, we pay it, and then they reimburse us. Now, one thing I would also like to tell y'all, because it was mentioned in our Budget and Finance Committee meeting, the debt to be paid off, there's a $296,000 payment that comes from the school to that education debt service. Once that's paid off, that won't be coming to that direction. So that was some additional funds too that could be used.
Yeah, the schools paid, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, the schools paid back $196,000, roughly, I don't know what the number is, they pay back, reimbursed SRO officers. But we also give them billions of dollars each year to use as they see fit, so.
Right. And you were, of course, I think they elected you the chairman of the joint meetings. There also were costs that we cover within the general
Yes, sir.
fund, and I believe that total was around 140,000, and therefore it was around 190.
Roughly half, by the time you figure insurance, equipment.
Other comments, Mr. Blaine?
Mr. Mayor, I'm on the front line. I mean, as a school resource officer, I see the necessity of having school resource officers in each of our schools. And I think waiting on the state, that's just waiting too long. And I think that it's important that we get this done tonight. We don't, wait around about buying equipment for the landfill. We don't wait around about buying equipment for other areas. This right here needs to be done, and we need to add a little bit of an amendment to this right here as well. Mr. Groves mentioned that there's excess cost. There is going to be cost to sending these people to the academy, cars, accessories that they're going to need. And I'm hoping that maybe the chief has come up with maybe a price or a quote or something other that can give us an idea of ballpark figure of this amendment that we need to amend to this here. Fixing the salary is good. Having a salary for SROs is good. But we got to get them to that point, as well as Mr. Groves mentioned. I think sitting and waiting is a wrong idea. We can't sit and wait. We need to get this done, and this needs to be done now.
Other comments? Mr. Winfrey?
I've kept up with the news on this 30 million. I don't think, I may be wrong, but I don't think we're going to hear from that 30 million. I think the school board will hear from the 30 million.
Okay.
30 million is divided among the school departments in the state. I don't think if you're going to wait to hear from it, I don't think we'll ever hear.
And correct me if I'm wrong, as part of one of the school board meetings that I went to, the safety committee is based on need that is submitted to the state to determine. So our need in Smith County may be outweighed by another county because of what they have. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And we're learning every day something new, but from what I understand, that 30 million is a one-time, non-reoccurring expense.
Gotcha. Frank?
Well, the school board member, which David Apple, he works as a city cop, he said they can hire, there's a private agency that can be hired cheaper than what the county deputies would be. So I don't know, they need to talk to him about who he's seen and talked to, would save the county a lot of money too. Might be able to do
I
that.
think that was discussed in the school board meeting, and Mr. Beller, you may have some input on that, because you were present that night, correct? There was something that was stated about a security officer versus an SRO officer. Do you remember
That
that
is
statement?
correct. There was some discussions in relationship to providing security versus an SRO. That was at the school board meeting that you're referencing here, I think maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Mr. Wood?
I'd just like to say, in my personal opinion, I do not feel it would be wise for us to have anyone that's not under the sheriff's authority as designated as an SRO in our school. If you hire private security, if it wants to be on top of that, then I don't have a problem with that. But until we have SROs in every one of our schools, I don't think we need to be putting private pay individuals in. I believe it needs to be somebody that speaks under the authority of the sheriff.
Okay. Mr. Henry?
I agree with you completely. I think this is a great thing, but we currently do not have that unified front right now in our SROs. Gordonsville City pays for one SRO officer for that district. They're under their own privy, under their own chief, under Gordonsville City. They're not under the sheriff, they're not under their SRO supervisor, they're their own entire being. And that's a whole other issue that needs to be corrected in its own right, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think we should add to the problem by hiring 3 that are not under the sheriff.
Other discussion? Mr. Nixon?
I know it's been brought up several times, and there's a lot of frustration by several people at this board where they feel like the schools have $10 million and done nothing with this. I want it to be stated, I understand and share that frustration. But for the people we represent, they don't care who has a pile of 10 million, who has a pile of 1 million. They know they've got $11 million sitting there, and they've got kids that aren't being taken care of. I agree with that sentiment. I know several people feel that way, but for the people we represent, that's how they feel, and I understand where they're coming from.
And I can say this for myself, I don't care politically what it happens. I don't care what it means to anybody. I am going to vote for SROs for our school, because if something happens this next school year, it's not going to be on my conscience. I believe we need to make sure these children are protected, and if the school board wants to set on money, that's fine. I don't think we should. I don't feel that morally I can let this go, because we're seeing more and more things happening in the schools. And I asked Mr. Edelman here in one of the budget and finance meetings, do you think you possibly have a child that might possibly be in the same mental condition of the one that did the thing in Texas? And he didn't give me an answer because of his job, but I get the indication that we may have troubled children in our schools. And if we do not protect every one of our schools, I think we're putting our children at risk. So I can tell you up front, whether or not Gordonsville provides one, whether or not the school board says that they're going to fund one, I'll vote for SROs for these schools.
Other comments, Mr.
I
Evans?
just have a question. Depending on what Mr. Beller finds out about which fund this money's got to come out of, we could have a 0 fund balance, just like that. If we have to start paying for 9, 10, 11, 12 SRO officers.
You talking about on the TCA code?
Yes.
Well, we've been doing it the way we've been doing it for ever since, I think 2002, 3. I mean, it's been a long time where that we pay and they reimburse us, and it's always been, as far as I know, good. And David brought that tonight, we'll research it, and you're exactly right, it could cause a problem.
That being said, I'm still going to vote yes.
When I read that, I thought maybe that's the reason they do pay us. It does go through.
It does go through the general fund, but the way that kind of sounds, it's not education funds at all, but there's tax money that goes into the general purpose school too. That's not just state money, federal money. So it can be directed out. I think that's what's going to determine, but we'll find out.
Does anybody want to give us an estimate of how much we are talking about?
Well, you currently, right now there are 5, is that right, David? 25, and it's costing us approximately that 190 figure, because Gordonsville does pay for one, we got a total of 6, and there's a need for a total of 9. Is that right, Sheriff? As far as if you put one in every school, so that would take 3 additional ones. So that, if you take that, my phone
If you
died.
look at what the school put in, you said 196.
No, it's not 196, round that 190. So take 190 and divide it by 5, that's gonna be your individual cost.
It's 38,000.
Okay, so you got 38,000 there, and then come to
County
us,
portion.
you take 140 and divide that by 5, what you got?
You're looking at about
28.
So you got 38 and 28. Now, we'll say this on the cars, what it would amount to, in the past, whatever cars they bought, they sold those vehicles. And in the past, you've been able to retain those vehicles if so allowed to go for the SROs. You wouldn't buy brand new cars for an SRO. You would possibly, Sheriff, could you use, if they said don't sell all of them, retain 3, could you use those 3? All right, so that would not be that's an expense we've already covered. But if you take those figures, 38 and what, 28?
28, 66.
That's $66,000. And that's per.
3.
Yes, sir. So you're looking at 198,000.
Is that just salary alone? Is it just salary
No, that's everything.
that's getting them through the academy?
Well, now, we had figured in our cost at 140 was the academy, the training, the uniforms, all the things we pay for. We pay for the health insurance, workers' comp insurance, so in that $140,000 figure, it does have that. And 190 is no. So the 66 is a total for each person per year, which is gonna come up to that. If I figured it right, 66 times 3 is 196, 198. So that's what you're looking at, a yearly cost. Other comments, questions? Joe, Mr. Nixon?
One other comment to address how to pay for it. When we talked about this, we talked to Sheriff Eugene in our meeting and asked them, kind of what we figured, it would probably take a year to get somebody in and trained to fill that role. We want to get the ball rolling now. When it really came time to pay for them, when we get to next year, we've talked about this several times, that education debt service will be paid off. There'll be 6 additional cents of property tax money. We could move over to the general fund, which that's roughly $40,000 a penny. In our minds, that would help alleviate that to keep us from ever having to raise property taxes to fund this.
For that purpose.
For that purpose, yes.
Be careful what you say.
Yeah.
We hope we never have to.
Thank you for
raise
clarifying that.
Hold on just a minute, Tommy. I'm
Mr.
coming.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
How did the school come up with a $10 million excess fund?
Well, last
A rainy
year-
day fund or something, right?
Well, that's just a general fund, just like what we have a general fund. Last year, I believe by audit, it was $7 million. Does that sound right, Norman? So it's increased, and that's what it
So it's
was
getting
on.
$3 million in 1 year.
And that's what it was on June the 19th. They'll be just like us. They'll have expenses paid
We've
in.
got another payroll, to go out. We
Yes.
paid June, July, and August salaries for teachers, so there's another 2.7 million payroll that will go out, since that June 19th, yeah.
But I will tell you, every year, and no disrespect to any, Norman, don't take this to you, I'm just saying, when the budget is presented, it's always a negative dip in the fund balance. There's always more money spent and more revenue, but at the end of the year, there's always an increase. Anywhere from $1 million to $2 million. I think the lowest is probably 700,000. So, and just like with the general fund, we try to have an increase. Like this year, the budget was passed, I think it was a decrease of about $12,000, something like that. You can take a leap like that, but we don't have those kind of increases. So, budget is presented as it's dipping way into the fund balance, but at the end of it all, when the audit, and you go out there and look on the audit any day of the week, and you compare with the budgets, and that's what it is. So, there's no doubt there will be an increase this year. There's no doubt about that. Now, the school board will decide what they got to do with that. So that's their job to do with that. But to answer your question, and I've said it before, you got to have good management to be able to increase your fund balance. But when you present your budget, I would ask for the same thing to be done then, as this is what it's really going to be. Okay? Other comments? Questions?
Can it not be tabled to the July meeting and we let you, as the mayor, contact the state and see what that money is going to be, if it's going to be released, if Smith County is entitled to any of that money and stuff, and talk about the SROs in every school, we have some that spends, what, half day for sure, some after they demelted, whatever. That's been working out fine. On the other night, the statistic things or whatever, Shelby County, that's the largest county in the state. They have 121 schools with 18 SROs.
To answer your original question, this body can do anything it wants to do. You get 13 votes, you can table it. If you get 13 votes, you can pass it. So that's up to this body. And I think we had good discussion, and if there's other discussion, we need to let it know. But if we're at the end of our discussion, somebody needs to throw out a motion to do something. But is there hold on, is there any other discussion?
I think tabling it just puts us that much further behind.
Amen.
And it don't keep, and I will say this, it don't keep us from doing the research, even if it passes. Tom?
Wasn't there $492,000 spent on a piece of land over there recently?
Yes, sir, that is correct. And that was the amendment that passed tonight narrowly.
What are they gonna do with that property?
Sir?
What will the school do with that property?
From what meetings I've listened to and been in attendance with, they're looking at building a school at some point in time.
It rains in Bocage.
Well, I mean, I personally, I don't think the property was suitable for what they purchased it for.
Well, and you can read in the minutes, and I think everybody here knows it, but you read in the minutes that, that there was a letter that was sent because it was spent before the amendment was approved. I mean, the money has already been spent, the amendment come for you tonight, and as far as really the book work has been done, but it was spent and bought before you all approved the money. And I think that's what probably set worse as anything, here tonight. But I will say on behalf, Mr. Smith came and so did Norma, and they let it be known that all budget amendments will definitely be coming before the Budget and Finance Committee from this day forward. And as you saw tonight, there were several budget amendments that were approved. But I still say that it was known before then. I mean, I don't have anything to lose. I'm not trying to stir up anything. But if you're going to spend $500,000, there's a process. I mean, as y'all know, we've been looking at this industrial property for 9 years? We've done bat studies, we've done wetland studies, we've done environmental studies, we've done soil boards, we've had surveys done, appraisals. And y'all required me to do that. I mean, y'all expected me to do that. And I honored that respect, and I honored that request, and I would encourage that any department do the same thing. Any other comments or questions?
The end result is, Mayor, it don't make a difference which department it's coming out of. Taxpayers are still funding every one of these departments.
That's right. 100% agree. Taxpayer money. 9 years.
Yes, sir.
Amen. All right, what's the will of the commission on this issue, on resolution 25?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Funding, training, and
Wait just
equipment.
a minute, Mark. Let me clarify. Did you make the motion, Matthew, to approve what?
To move, for resolution 25 as it's
As
written.
it's presented. And who seconded the motion? Shannon mentioned. Motion made by Matthew Inger, second by Shannon mentioned, to approve resolution 25 as presented. Now, Mark, questions? What was your question?
Mine was funding, training, and equipment, so I'd like to spend that too, if that's possible.
Yes.
Well, according to this, if it passes, it says that offer for Smith County, that this funding would come for the Smith County General Fund, and then the last paragraph, that says school resource for Smith County schools from the Smith County General Fund effective upon adoption. And we're already, with the other 5, we're covering all of it but the salaries and benefits that the school pays. So if this passes, we're going to cover salaries and benefits, cars, training, uniforms, insurance, 100% of it. Is that what your motion is? The way I understand the resolution. Brandon, you developed the resolution. Is that the way I'm reading this resolution?
It is. Is that for all 9 or just these 3?
3. He said as presented, it's 3. Hold on just a minute. Joey, I'm gonna go ahead and do you, and I'll get you just a minute, Dave.
No, I'm just gonna add to that, and I'll ask Gene, because I think he came up with budget and finance. That was our intention when we discussed it in budget and finance. You're very good at it. That was our intention for funding training.
Fully funded.
We just, yeah,
Fully funded.
That was it for we discussed.
All right, Dave?
My motion was gonna be to table it to the next meeting until we can find out from the state where we're gonna get this money or not. And then, if the state says, no, we ain't getting money, then we'll go forward and fund the resource officers.
Okay.
But right now, we need money from the state to help.
Okay. But the motion is,
One other thing on that.
hold on just a minute, though. Hold on. Let's take it one step at a time. I'm chairman, just bear with me. We have a motion, and the motion is not to table it. The motion is to pass it as presented. Now I'm coming back to you.
One other thing, in 2006, we voted by the sheriff's department, 7 cars, and they sell 7 cars. So if this goes through, it's gonna be that big change, buy 10 and sell 10. So,
Say that last part, buy 10, sell 10?
yep, because we,
Well, first-
if we had 3 more, we was buying, selling, we were buying 7 and selling 7, so that's gonna boost it up to 10.
No, it's actually gonna reduce it, David. It's gonna go to quite the opposite. And the reason for that is, first of all, in the budget that was passed tonight, at the sheriff's request, there's not a number of vehicles tied with that dollar figure. He's gonna buy as many as he possibly can with that dollar figure.
191,000.
Yes, sir. If he buys 5, he's supposed to sell 5. If he buys 6, he's supposed to sell 6. All right? If this passes and they need 3 cars, I would think that he would come before the Budget and Finance Committee and say, would y'all relieve me of the duty of selling 3 cars? And if this passes, I don't see how you can say no. So actually, it goes quite the opposite, Dave, instead of up, because they're not going to buy new cars for the officer. They're going to use what they have and not sell as many when they replace those as new. Okay?
Here we go back in that circle.
It's not a circle, David.
With the maintenance, remember what we were spending on maintenance? $186,000 a year for maintenance.
Okay, well, let me say that, and I'm not trying to argue with you, but Glenn, do you put as many miles on an SRO car as you would if you were a deputy out there patrolling the
No,
road?
sir, I had a vehicle for 3 years and put 8,000 miles on
And how many miles you got on it now?
it. 128,000.
Does it serve you well?
Yes, sir.
All right. I mean, they just don't use them.
You didn't get a new car though, did you, Glenn?
No,
You got a hand-me-down, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, anybody else want to speak to the motion? Everybody understand the motion? Approve resolution as presented. Roll call, please. Resolution 25.
Mark Jones,
Yes.
Glenn Reeves,
Yes.
Larry Edelman,
Yes.
Billy Bass,
Yes.
Jimmy Winfrey,
Yes.
Carolyn Bowles,
Reluctantly, yes.
Pam Billington,
Yes.
Shannon Mucci,
Yes.
Matthew Inyard,
Yes.
Ron Cowan,
Yes.
Linda Nixon,
Reluctantly, yes.
Billy Woodard,
Yeah.
Barbara Knappel,
Yes.
Charles Kent,
Reluctantly, yes.
Joey Nixon,
Yes.
Tommy Bain,
I don't want to. No.
Dennis Hackett,
Yes.
Thomas Gibbs,
Yes.
David Grohl,
Due to the pay.
Motion carries, I can tell you that already. All right, good debate. I agree, safety surely has to be number one. My problem is the funding, and that's just, and I know, I understand, it's all taxpayer money, but, you start having problems in general fund, I guarantee what you're gonna do, you're gonna raise taxes. You're not gonna borrow from the school.
Better say it's trash, because the collection of them can.